But the next thing we have, I just want to do like a season in review. We haven't really wrapped up the seasons. We've had a little bit of time to swallow the Super Bowl loss, not really deal with it. But I just kind of want to see what your main takeaways from the season were. What are your reactions from it?
Yeah, so I had just like I was sitting around a couple of days ago and just was like thinking, like, man, like what an awesome year that was. Like, yeah, I'm still kind of not thrilled with the end. I just think the Bengals didn't capitalize. I I think the refs were bad. That's gonna happen. Refs are always bad, but I mean, it was right there. We just didn't take advantage of it. And that sucks. But, it's what an awesome season. And now, like, in the off season, you'll like I'm sure you've had buddies and stuff that aren't Bengals fans like chirp you and stuff, and you're just like, dude, we were just in the Super Bowl. We have Joe Burrow. We're like we are the pinnacle of a team, like what you want to be in the NFL right now, like what you want your team to look like, and you're chirping me, and you have a quarterback going into his fifth year. We don't know what's going to happen to.
Yeah,
Like, just
it's
interesting.
it is
Being a Bengals fan feels like a win right now.
definitely, and you have to look at the season as a win. I mean, losing Super Bowl always going to suck.
Massive.
It's never what you want to do. So it sours the whole season, but you have to look at it as positive. I mean, there's no other way you can do it. You're in the first full healthy year of Joe Burrow with let's just be honest. It was bad O line. He almost got killed multiple times.
It was
And
better than 2 years ago.
I mean, yes, for sure. I also still don't think
Maybe
I don't think just because he got injured means it was a worse O line. It was for sure.
no,
Like,
that O line just was really, really, really bad. This one was only really, really bad.
yeah, that I feel like two of those guys aren't even on an active NFL rosters right now. Maybe three, because you had Bobby's on the practice squad for the Bills. Who got bulldozed on that play? Michael Jordan, I think, got released. He got
Yeah.
released by the Panthers, I think. And then I think Redmond, who started a lot at guard that year, I think he's not on a roster.
Dude,
But
yeah, I made that joke like with a buddy, like during the Titans game. They're like, dude, we gotta get rid of this Prince guy. I'm like, yeah, let's just bring Bobby Hart back. Like,
yeah,
he was bad. He was better than Bobby Hart would have been.
for
Like,
sure, for sure. And I mean,
Dennis wasn't good. Better
yeah,
than Michael Jordan.
yeah, 100%. That's kind of what I said. Is offense was really impressive to me when you consider the like offensive line issues, and I think that's something you have to take into account if you're trying to evaluate Zach Taylor in the offense that he wants to call. There's no way this guy's calling an offense he wants to. He's kind of been coaching with his hand behind his back since he came here. I mean, first of all, you just have a bad team. Let's call a spade a spade. When he first got here, you just have a really bad team. So you're not really calling anything you want. You don't have a quarterback you want. You get the guy you want, but then you have an offensive line that you can't block a 3-step drop. So then that limits your entire offense, but you finally get some weapons. You can do some stuff. But again, you can't block a 5-step drop. You're kind of screwed there. You're really limited. And I think that's just really impressive for Zach and the rest of the offensive staff in specific.
Yeah, I mean, like the offense, like yeah, I'm just gonna take an even another farther step back. Like we've been over it so many times, but like coming into this year, like like if we went 500, we'd all been like, you know what, like step in the right direction. Like
Yeah.
all good year. Let's like what we've been saying could come into fruition, and like then you just like we were in the Super Bowl. Like it's crazy to think like I think this is gonna be one too where like over the next couple years, it's just gonna every once in a while dawn on you just like how crazy it was that this young a team with so many holes just figured out a way to beat teams that were better than them and play in the Super Bowl. Like the Chiefs have a roster, like they were better than us. Like
Yeah.
they have significantly less holes than the Bengals did, and we beat them twice playing the same exact game. Like
Literally.
yeah, like and we put ourselves in holes and just found ways to dig out. Like it was improbable, but man, was it a great ride. Like
100%.
it was a giant win. Like I also we're only going to keep getting better, you know. Like we are
Yeah.
still super young. Like the experience for those guys to go on a run like that, like that's going to be huge.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is what you said. They're definitely going to get better. There might be years where you have like a down year where you're maybe under 500 by a few games. But like this team's probably never picking in the top 10 again. It's just likely not going to happen. I mean, unless you have Joe go down again or something like that, or something catastrophic, you're probably going to be a really good team for a while. So it's crazy to see it. I mean, I also have written down like if I ever meet Louis Rumo, I'm apologizing to him to his face. I mean, what the defense did this year was like nothing short of phenomenal considering the expectations. I mean, we came in being like, if this defense can stop somebody, I mean, we can win games. And it turned into if this offense can finally figure it out, they're going to win a lot of games. I mean, the defense was impressive throughout. I mean, the first 5 weeks, the defense kept them afloat. For a while, that offense didn't get clicking. We talked about it a ton in the beginning of the season. Joe didn't look right. And I mean, we were right. That wasn't Joe. You saw it towards the end of the year. He started clicking. He was not confident in the knee. That was obvious, especially looking later in the year. But
Yeah.
it's like I always think about the Chiefs game. I mean, you hold the Chiefs to 6 points in the second half and you play them twice. Teams in their division can't even do that. Like that's crazy, especially when you look at the Broncos. Like the Broncos defense is way better than the Bengals, and we beat them twice, holding them to what the Broncos couldn't even do.
I don't even think the Broncos has beat Mahomes twice, like since he's been in the league. Like
it's crazy.
No, I mean, I'd argue probably a majority of Bengals fans like we were definitely more vocal about the offense, but like I think Bengals fans will tell you we were a defensive team.
For sure.
Like I think we were a defensive team this year. And I think that's the scariest part is I don't think people like realize that. Like, yeah, we were a defensive team and we had the greatest rookie wide receiver of all time, Joe Burrow going insane, another T. Higgins going off, like Boyd Mixon, like and we were a defensive team with all this star power on offense. Like I think the Bengals are in a really, really good spot to just be the most talented team in football at some point during Burrow's rookie contract. And I mean, if you look at it from that angle, like that was pretty much what we did with Andy. Like the 2015 team, Bengals might have been the most talented team in football, like roster wise, like
100%.
really good. The issue was you had Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton got hurt. So you had AJ come in, but like yeah, when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, you can have a really talented team because they're not commanding all that money, and especially add in all that talent with an elite quarterback. Like I think the next couple of years are going to. Well, I think the foreseeable future is going to be a lot of fun, but I think the duration of this rookie contract is kind of go balls to the wall, win now mode.
100%. I mean, my favorite thing in the world is when people say his defense carried on the playoff. It's like, well, Jesus Christ, when you can't get 9 sacks on him, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he going to do to you then? I mean, this guy he literally couldn't get a throw off and he still threw for 300 yards on your head. Like if they can get to the point where they can block and he can throw in the intermediate at all, which he wasn't able to do this year. And he was elite his first year when he played like half the season. I mean, it's the only way you can look at this season, especially even if you want to critique Joe Burrow, it's okay. Then there's no way he's going to get worse.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think like I do think Burrow's improved on some things, but like he's only going to keep getting better and better. I mean, I really don't think you saw Joe Burrow like as what Joe Burrow kind of is thought of right now until like week 12, maybe. I'm trying to
around
think,
there.
like, the first time I really was like, Joe's back was the second half of the fourth quarter of the Niners game, and we ended up losing. But I was like, yeah, like this looks like he looks really comfortable in the pocket with his knee. Like he just looked like Joe Burrow. And I mean, look at after that second half of the Niners game, it was, I mean, Broncos and then Ravens, Chiefs, like we just started destroying everybody, and he was on fire. So yeah, like I just think it's crazy to just take a step back and think about all the things that happened during this year. Like
Yeah.
I could ramble about 100 different plays where it was just like like we've been waiting on seeing this. Like this is what we thought could happen, and it's awesome.
Yeah, especially when you talk about like Joe Burrow coming back. To me, the biggest one to me is when it started clicking was the Steelers' second game when he had that juke to get into the end zone on that rush. Like I was like, damn, like he believes in the knee now. Like, and that was kind of the holdup I think for most of the regular season.
You didn't say his name earlier in top five, did you?
Who?
He juked Minka.
No, he's not. I think he was 7 or 8. I think he was 7 or 8.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking like because we were talking about that. Like you didn't say him. Yeah. Joe Burrow put his jockstrap on the 3-yard line and went into the end zone.
Yeah. But I mean, if he plays at whatever level he played in the second half of the season for a whole season, like he's probably gonna win an MVP. I mean, it's just it's where it is. I mean, whatever you want to say. I mean, they just had the greatest offensive receiver season of all time. And I mean, you have to take the quarterback into account when you're looking at a season like that.
It completely. And the other crazy thing is we kind of saw it, Jamar started off early. T was out in the middle and Jamar kind of finished it. And T was there, but like going into this next season, now that people, the drop thing or whatever was said about in training camp about Jamar Chase is a bust. Like that's gone. Like you going into this, other teams are like, well, they have Jamar Chase and T Higgins. We can't take away both. So I don't know what we're gonna do. And I think they're just gonna feed off each other. Like that's gonna be scary.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase is only gonna get better too. Like he hadn't played football in a full year. Like look at what he did at the end of the year. Like he's 22 years old. Like
yeah, his main route is the go. So I mean, the only thing he can, and I mean, he's elite at it. So like once he gets the stuff in the intermediate too, like it's gonna be crazy.
And throughout the year, you saw his route running kind of improve.
Exactly.
We saw more and more of his rack ability, like yak ability. It's
his after the catch, he's elite. He's elite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the most underrated part of his game is blocking. Like he's an incredible blocker in the run game. Like I don't think, like I say that like not even as a joke. Like he has like legitimate highlight blocks. Like it's crazy. Yeah, and he's not even that big.
No, and I'm thinking of like 3 separate times he just like pancaked the dude.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm pretty sure he did like 2 or 3 in the playoffs too. Not even counting the Lions one.
It's bananas. And I mean, he gets the ball in his hands. He looks like a running back. Like
yeah, it's crazy.
Bubble screen we run to him where he just like does a hitch and shimmies for 2 seconds and wiggles behind a block and goes for 8. It's like watching him. Just so many cool parts of this season. Is one of them's like we look at week 1, like when Jamar caught it, like we're going nuts. We're like this got like every home game you can almost point to a spot where you're like Jamar Chase, like, and your jaw was on the floor. He does things like I haven't seen this, and like I almost shouldn't be seeing this. Like this shouldn't be possible for him to be able to do that. Like it doesn't seem fair.
That's kind of the last thing I have to in my season review is kind of what Joe and Jamar did at the levels they've done it. I don't think is really talked about enough. Like they won a national championship, both being the really dominant player on their college team, and Joe won a Heisman. And then you see these guys be teammates in the NFL, and you've never really seen it at that level before, having guys that are teammates, especially at the quarterback wide receiver position. And you just haven't seen it. And then they put on this kind of a show. You see Tua and Waddle, and they had a good season too. But I mean, when you compare them, it looks like it was nothing. I mean, it's phenomenal what they were able to accomplish and something we've never seen before in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny to just like talk, like just think about, in the future, like I think 25 years from now, I think it's possible that a lot of people say, but I think Bengals fans will tell you like that 2020 LSU team is the greatest team of all time, and it's probably your favorite team of all time. Like,
yeah,
because that LSU team is just kind of like morphed into the Bengals at this point. Like, get Jefferson over here, and you got the entire roster damn near. So
yeah,
but I mean, just like go game to game throughout the season. Like there was a like just awesome. Like beating the Vikings week 1 was incredible. Like Then you go to week 4, the comeback against the lowly Jaguars at night. We won a night game. Like, that was insane. Like, look at the Steelers home game. Look at the Ravens home game. Look at the Chiefs home game. Then we went and won a home game in the playoffs. Like, it was almost like every single time we went to see this team, week to week to week, like every time they just did something and you're like, how can we top this? I mean, like when we beat the Steelers, I was like, how can we top this? Like they aren't even good. We should but I mean, we buried them. Like, that might have been more embarrassing than the Ryan Finley loss. Like,
yeah, I mean,
like, there's an argument to be had there. So it's just crazy, like how many awesome moments we had this year with this team. Like, it was just a special season.